into it.
We can only hope, Rudude. We'll keep an eye out for it here in Champions League for this third game of the day. One thing to keep an eye on is RMC and Rudude rightfully, highlighting the 80 carries as they are two of the bigger focal points for these two teams. The matchup, the last time these two teams met, it was Jinx for Brunsey and Fluxo. Loud had Root on the Aphelios, so two very good mid and late game team fighting 80 carries. Of course, Jinx, that hyper carry, it really snowballs hard, and if you can get that get excited passive going, you can take over team fights. So keep an eye on what kind of picks these teams look to put those carries on. Important to note, Loud banning away that Azir. House will not get it this time around. They elect for the LeBlanc first pick there.
Yeah, House mentioned in an interview last week that Azir isn't necessarily blind pickable as much as we think he can blind pick it. There are some matchups. But the LeBlanc, I think, is a very, very safe one to pick up. Still one of the few static abusers left in the game, and I think House will be happy to have that one in pocket. I don't think Tinos is necessarily going to be able to counter that. We've seen Tinos counter entire composition. Though, going with the Kai'Sa again, and we did see Root play it. It was the AD Kai'Sa to great effect, but hold up, Yeso.
Okay, folks. Take it away. Take it away.
I really like this, Yeso, because I'm complaining that I don't think Kai'Sa is blind pickable. AD or AP. Xayah just has so many answers to her, and we've seen that repeatedly. But Kaboom also showed us that you can take that Kai'Sa into the mid lane. And I think that's what we're seeing here. You pick the Kai'Sa, you take the Xayah, suddenly there isn't that counter in that bot lane. And Kai'Sa actually can go toe-to-toe with LeBlanc. You can dodge out the distort, and you can lay punishment. Kai'Sa is pseudo assassin herself.
This is going to be really fun to watch, and Loud just big braining it there by picking up that Xayah immediately. And you see Fluxo wanting to deny the lovers duo in the bottom lane. They immediately take away that Rakan and pick up some engageability for Desamas, securing that Sejuani there for him. So certainly some team fighting potential there. Desamas going to have that go button for Fluxo. Loud immediately looking to respond, and the Nautilus, of course, a traditional pick alongside Kai'Sa in the bottom lane, can be very successful alongside the Xayah as well.
Yeah, it's a good pick into the Rakan as well, just because if you have build up, Rakan dances into you, the auto, if he taunts you, you stun him right away with Nautilus. That's why we often do see that trade. They'll be happy with that one, and now Fluxo still looking to pick up their top laner and their AD carry, and I would love to see Loud just pinch that pull, because again, if you recall back to round 2, it was Brunsey who was popping off. It was Brunsey who was the massive carry. Jinx was his pop-off. It's still on the table, and honestly, this setup is not terrible for Jinx. It will struggle a little bit into Kai'Sa, but hey, if you've got enough bodies around you, you'll be fine.
The one good thing here for Brunsey is that you're guaranteed to have at least Jinx or Aphelios available based on how the band plays out. He'll have his choice of either or something else if he wishes to go to something like an Ashe. I doubt with kind of the carry potential that he brings to the table that he gets to a utility like that, utility pick like that. But options available for Fluxo bottom laner as the Jack's taken off the table, and Fluxo pinching jungle pool. Maokai banned away earlier. Vi also not going to be available. Ivern is up though for Croc if he wants to take it.
Yeah, or even Poppy. I know that Poppy isn't exactly what comes to mind when we're thinking of Death Ball or dive composition, but if you look at the amount... Oh, Poppy's banned. I'm an idiot. Yeah, it was the first ban too. Yeah, in my head, I just kept thinking Poppy. Yeah, no, in which case, Maokai could... not Maokai, sorry. I forgot the champion you named earlier.
Ivern. I mean, you've got a double marksman composition.
True, yeah. It would do very, very well, and I think Daisy would do well to interrupt as well. Fluxo is vulnerable to just kind of being walked into right now. They don't have a lot of frontline tank, and with both a Kai'Sa and a Xayah to be able to cut through that front line, I don't know if Desamas is really going to be safe enough throughout this entire game just because of the sheer amount of autos available. You called it the Aphelios being picked up, and we get to see it. Tay is going to be picking up that Rumble. It is going to be damage in that top lane into a Cassante as well. So Tay knows exactly what he's playing into.
Going to be some very interesting team fights from this Fluxo lineup. You've got the initial engage, and of course the secondary engage. Rakan very successful when he has something like a Sejuani to follow up on. Eyes here on what Croc wants to take in the jungle. Doesn't elect to go for the Ivern with the double marksman comp. goes for that Wukong, so picks up that engage potential, which is, I think, very nice. Honestly, you can engage with the Nautilus, but, you know, we've noticed that with that support in isn't very tanky in the mid and late game, can very quickly get blown up if you don't use that dredge line at the right time. Now they have a little bit more engage potential here for Loud, and this is a fascinating champion select, and I want to take the opportunity here to bring in Rudude before we hit the rift for our third game of the day, just to get his general thoughts on what we saw in Champ Select.
Well, I asked for 10 carries. I'm going to go out on a whim here, and I'll say I've got 7. I'll allow Cassante as a carry in that mix as well. Unfortunately, the Psalmist and the supports, you've been relegated to supportive duties in this game. But I do generally like Loud's approach to this draft. The R1, R2 of Kai'Sa Xayah. Just, I mean, much like RMC, I'd be extremely happy to see those two picked in rotation. It's the same as way back when you used to see Vi and Zeri taken in the same rotation to deny one from countering the other. Exactly. It's weird that we're seeing it with 2 AD carries, but it was nice to see from Loud here.
Should be a very fun game between these two teams. Important to note, folks, Brunsey, former AD carry for Loud, went to Worlds with them in 2022. They decided to make one change in the offseason. It was letting Brunsey go, bringing in Root as his replacement. Brunsey has won 3 games in a row against his former team, 2 during the regular season of last split, 1 so far in this split. But Loud got the last laugh. They won the title in split 1 of 2023. We'll see if Brunsey can make it 4 in a row here today, or if Loud will keep it rolling.
With that stated, and we've got Brunsey's perennial grudge match ahead of us. Game number 3, about ready to get underway. And over to you, gentlemen, as we take it onto the rift for Fluxo versus Loud.
Okay. Can I just say that as much as we're talking about the fact that Brunsey has never lost against his former team, I want to bring up a fun little stat here about Fluxo. They've only won 1 Saturday game this split, and that was back in week 3 against Liberty. So, curses, laws, things like that. Fluxo, there's some laws of their own that they have to kind of get over. Their law of Saturday is not great.
We'll definitely have to keep an eye on it. We were speaking earlier this week, RMC, we're giving out some grades. You know, we were filling out some report cards. I want to look at this draft in particular. I'm curious what letter grades you would give to both of these teams, considering the matchup, their individual strengths, and what they bring to the table here in Champion Select.
I think I'd give Fluxo a solid E+. It's a good draft. It's a solid draft, right? There's an identity. They have the ability to team fight. They have the ability to engage, and I like how's on LeBlanc. They understood what was safe and meta to pick. For Loud's draft, because they're creative. And I guess that's why I didn't give Fluxo an A, because it's not particularly creative. It's really solid. It's a good grade, but it's not exceeds expectations. Loud draft on the end, I think did. We harped on the Kai'Sa Xayah early on, how exciting it was to see that. But now I want to talk about Wukong a little bit as well, because we didn't touch on that. I think Ivern would have a good pickup before he saw things. Hold up, bot lane, Jojo. Oh, the hook misses. He's fine. Okay, I was not expecting to see a bit of cheese in that bush, but it happened, and both supports trade health. They should be fine for now. Yes, Ivern versus Wukong. So Ivern would have been good till we saw the Rumble. Because you know what kills trees? So
fire.
Yes, people kill all, but fire. We're having a lot of wildfires in North America right now. So when you see that Rumble, Ivern's not great at that point, because now Daisy has to walk through the red carpet. Ivern has to walk the red carpet. Whereas you pick something like Wukong, and suddenly Rumble is a lot less safe. Sure, you drop the equalizer now. If Wukong dives you, you're in trouble. Likewise with that Affilio. So 2 big damage dealers for Fluxo are a lot more vulnerable. So I think Loud drafted well with what they did. My big question mark for them is going to be this Cassante. How does Cassante really fit into this composition? Who are you looking to remove? And how's the laning going to be going? Because I feel like the matchup kind of favors Rumble a little bit between Rumble and Cassante, unless Cassante can land all his skill shots. Now, if you can stick on Rumble and the equalizer's down, maybe you win that. But it feels a little bit too conditional for my liking.
All right. while viewers weren't in the green room with us watching our previous game between Kaboom and K-Stars, RMC is 2 for 2 today on set the top lane matchup to be in favor of somebody, and then it immediately going the other direction. Because we're talking, I'm like, oh, this this Renekton matchup into the Rumble's got to be pretty good. RMC's like, yeah, he should be able to bully him, and then Lonely absolutely takes over. So I would just like to prepare everybody watching, keep an eye, because if the trend continues, Tay will be looking at a gray screen here in a couple of minutes.
In which case, Loud fans, back me, because that means Robo's back in form, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I think we're still a little bit far away from playoffs for Robo buff to kick in. So
sure.
Fingers crossed. Tay, I have disrespected Tay as a top laner before, but not the split. I think this year he's been great, and I'm happy he's on a carry. Hey, please prove me right.
Robo truly is the anti-Natuno, Natuno, incredible, feels like world-class regular season bot laner here, as that's going to be first blood in the mid lane. Tinone's taken down the early roam from JoJo on this Rakan and sets up a kill on the...
yeah, they caught us all a little bit by surprise. Tinoone still had flash as well, thought he could survive, but wasn't expecting JoJo to cover that much distance, and now is Robo in trouble. Robo? Tay, are you going to prove you right?
DeSamus is up here looking to set things up with that Arctic Assault. They're just going to start with the auto attacks onto the tower, and DeSamus not confident in going for the dive here, will back away. But the point I was setting up there, Natuno, incredible regular season AD carry, of course, are defending MVP from a split, and even despite his team's foibles so far, this split has looked pretty good majority of the time. Meanwhile, Robo, skill season is not as incredible, but it flips when best of 5 start.
Yeah, or generally get closer to the playoffs. Robo knows how to peak at the right time. For now, though, that was a really good defense by Robo. Good call from DeSamus and Tay. I don't actually think they could have killed Robo right there. With the flash, there's a very real chance that one of you dies on that dive. So a good call from them not to throw anything. You can wait till level 6, wait till those outs start to come online, and then maybe try again then when your equalizer can be done from a distance where you're not risking dying. Croc has been a little bit quiet though. When DeSamus go for those roams, Croc has just been power farming the entire.
By the way, I think folks should enjoy the fireworks in the mid lane for now, because I feel like once both of these been get their first item, they're just going to not engage with each other whatsoever. Both of them are going to walk up, get their shift proc on the wave, clear it out very quickly, and then just walk back to their towers. It's going to be a very non-interactive as items come online.
Traditionally, that's static shift. I'm actually curious though if both have static shift, if we them instead of just roaming to other lanes, and then maybe we get action and fireworks elsewhere. Oh, DeSamus actually starting up an early. Look what they've done. They've rotated Tay down, who, by the way, not running Ignite PP, which is a difference from all the other Rumbles we've been seeing.
Does have that opportunity to maybe play for the side lanes a little more later on. You can just, if you do so without that teleport available, because then you leave your team vulnerable side of the map. That option available here for Fluxo this time around. Meanwhile, Robo will get a plate up on the top side here, as Tay is going to hit teleport right now to go and defend his tower, but Robo has got good income out of that, and that is Fluxo securing the first string.
Yeah, that'll help Robo a lot in the 1v1. He was struggling before that. He still has to be careful for ganks though, because despite the gold he picked up, despite the early Merc treads, he is still vulnerable. The bottom control jumpers.
Yeah, good dredge line there is going to catch out JoJo. That's going to be Root picking up a kill. Croc has to run as DeSamus has to ride for the counter gank, and it's likely going to secure a kill here for Bruncy. So that is a 1-for-1 in the bottom lane. Support for Junk here, and Samson Root have it back away.
Okay, yeah, so pardon me. Just for my brain.
Why does nobody know what I sound like this week, man? Everybody, is that Hawk? Is that Axeman? I'm getting bodied, RFC.
So for context, for anyone not familiar with it, what happened was LCS played a clip promoting CBLOL, and we had the voices of Yeso and Poror, and multiple people missed Yeso's voice and thought it was someone else. I'm sorry, Yeso. I just got 4x4 in my brain, man. The man's getting married. It's his week.
Congrats to him. Congrats to him. I'm not actually mad. I just find it endlessly funny.
Well, Yeso, what I did want to talk about was JoJo and how he played this fight. So the rematch replay is very, very timely. We've been talking a lot about Seos' best support, but look at what Jojo does in this situation. He got caught. He knew he was dead. And instead of backing out, burning flash defensively, hold up to Tinones.
Oh, Tinones is going to get rooted there. Seos here to prevent any further aggression. How's Jojo? Not going to go forward with that Nautilus in Tinones' back pocket. He would be safe. Robo and Tay maybe going to duke it out here a little bit, but I'm going to hand it back to you, RMC, to continue point.
I'm scared because Jojo got no chill. I was just trying to praise you, Jojo. Give me time, but Jojo's in it again.
Yeah, Seos going to hit the dredge line there, but grand entrance over the wall gets Jojo back to safety, and now priority to Loud here in this topside river means that the jungler is going to have to back away. Meanwhile, Brunty flashing away from the Featherstorm, but it's not nearly going to be enough. That's the kill there for Root. You can hear the Loud fans in the building, and now Loud being contested. Beautiful red carpet laid down all on top of Loud's head. Robo trying to get out of here, might be rooted. Is Jojo going to get in with the grand entrance? They're looking to take down the Cassante. He's just going to get out far away. Dredgeland under tower, and somehow Seos just spurts down from the Ignite, the kill to Jojo.
What this team, both teams are popping off the ASO and they don't stop. Look at how he's still not done with this. He's still trying to punish Croc and invade. Guys, Herald's being done, but Fluxo, they just want everything on the map. And this was how Fluxo won the first time. This sort of relentless aggression when they got a lead. But most notably, the bot lane 1v1, where Brunt was key to winning game 1, Root just won the 1v1.
Rift Herald gonna zo down. Let's go to the replay here. Let's take a look first at the 1v1 here. Root with Brunty walking up to the tower, and the Featherstorm quickly comes out.
Even the perfect Featherstorm, which dodged out the Moonlight visual. And for Brunty, he started red-white. It looked good. Those are the perfect guns for a 1v1. He lost Severum partway through, and you need the Severum to really get that massive chakram generation going on. So really well played to Root. I don't know if Root was counting that, but hey, if you're a Loud fan, you believe that Root was counting those shots.
I mean, Root had the whiteboard out. He had his expos markers. He was doing the math. He was ready to go. He played that very cleanly, looking good on this Xayah so far, 2-0, and also has that first item on board. So the Xayah is going to become a problem very quickly for the front line of Fluxo. Keep an eye on Root, because of course it was his counterpart that popped off the first time teams met. Root set up to do it this time around.
Yeah, and for the fact that Loud has won the bot side, they are not having as much fun on the rest of the map. We started talking about that top side fight. Well, let's talk about Fluxo's composition. We mentioned before, they've got really good team fight and engage, and a lot of that relies on Tay. Tay, despite roaming down, has actually meant to CS lead over Robo, and we saw in that last Herald fight as well. Tay layered a perfect equalizer, one of the better ones we've seen today. If he can do that in another fight, Loud will struggle to find ways to fight that. And their counter for Loud is trying to find flanks, trying to break up the fight and find 1v1s. But if you're not winning the 1v1s, then Loud's strategy gets a lot more complicated, a lot more difficult to pull off.
Has Tay finally broken your top lane caster curse today, RMC?
Has Tay or has Robo?
Sure. I mean, you know, it's a team effort up there, right?
True. No, I swear I know what I'm talking about the top lane.
No, hey, I don't doubt that you do. At no point did I go, man, RMC really didn't understand this top lane matchup. It was just funny because I felt like you were right on the money, and then it just like turned on its head. So I think Fluxo very happy to see that Tay is looking solid in this matchup, as the Sum is looking to contest around this second Drake, and Sayos fishing with the dredge line. Wasn't quite able to land it. House is going to dash to the wall, having to flash out of trouble, does get caught by the Moonlight Vigil. And that's going to be another kill for Jojo somehow, as Sayos will fall to Desamis, and that's a very fed recon.
Yeah, and this is why when Trajan's really happy when we see his B1 is here. I'm very happy when we see House B1 LeBlanc, because that was clean. Croc walked up and House was like, okay, you're approaching me. Well, you're never going to catch me, but I can really catch you. Oh, hey! You know, that's an afterthought. Yeah, you know what? I was just too engrossed with how well Fluxo played that, because we were talking about Tay being the big team fighter. Tay wasn't there and they won a team fight. So yeah, so they're in a great position. We get to watch this again. And Desamis goes in, knowing I'm tanky, you can't. And I think Sayos was lucky he didn't land that hook, because I think there is enough burst damage from House alone to kill him. And for Croc, you go and you burn the ult, but you can't be doing that on LeBlanc. She's just so mobile, and they just so easily pull up on the kill. If they do this without Tay, then how do Loud play this when Tay is actually there?
Yeah, those team fights are only going to be scarier with that Flame Spitter and Equalizer coming into play. It's going to be very difficult for Tinones and Root to position in those team fights. So keep an eye on those two as well as this Rumble as this game continues. Just over 13 minutes and 2,000 gold lead here for Fluxo in a solid position. They've also controlled the neutral objectives so far. They've picked up all three, the Rift Herald as well as both Drakes so far. Next Rift Herald up in just under 2 minutes. Something tells me these two teams are going to look to group and fight for that objective. We'll see if maybe somebody can set up priority, break a tower or something before that to give themselves an edge in that coming team fight. As you can see, Loud starting to group around this top lane.
Equalize just to clear out and push. Tay has to be careful because once the Equalize down, Robo is going to have a better time trying to bully in. You're not as worried about the Tinones.
Tinones in trouble here. Has to flash away, does get rooted, but in tower range, so he's safe from the dive of House and JoJo. And man, look, we've talked a lot about JoJo's counterpart in this game. Seos has gotten a ton of praise in terms of the supports at CBLOL the split. Talk to me about what we've seen from JoJo so far this game and, you know, the split over there overall.
I would, but JoJo's on my screen and I'm scared. So, because every time JoJo showed up, that he's been going in. He has no fear. JoJo, this game specifically has looked amazing. He's just been roaming out everywhere. And sure, that might have come slightly at the detriment of Brunsey in that 1v1 death, but other than that, he's been so good. And the mobility of this Rakan LeBlanc combo has been great at punishing Tinones, one of our best mid laners. He opted for this Kai'Sa, but he's having a really rough time. And this is not just the Kai'Sa LeBlanc matchup. Kai'Sa actually can fight LeBlanc to a certain extent. A lot of this is just the follow-up CC from JoJo, and not a lot of supports have that wherewithal to know, hey, I can go in on this and I can cover all this distance, whereas JoJo seems to have that to perfection. And we used to see this as well back when JoJo wasn't red, when he was partnered with Titan. One of the reasons why that bot lane was so successful was because both of them are aggressive, both of them have killer instincts, and both of them know exactly how far they can go without that.
It is important to note that despite pressure that House and JoJo have applied onto Tinones Kai'Sa so far in this game, a 10 CS deficit at team, you know, approaching 16 minutes for this Kai'Sa could have been a lot worse. House has been in a really solid position thanks to the support of JoJo, but Tinones holding his own and has that wave clear to try and keep things even for the time being. We'll pick up that wave into the top lane. Let's look at a crash into that tier 2. Meanwhile, Robo knocking down a first tower here for Loud, taking out that tier 1 in the bottom lane. Fluxo starting to posture around this Rift Herald.
Yeah, they're gearing up for it. TP is not available for Tay either, so they do have to be a bit careful. I love the fact as well, so that we keep seeing House and Croc exchange blows there, where Croc's like, ha, I caught you, House, and House like, okay. Like, it's like a big brother kind of smacking the little brother around, like, stop annoying me, right? And I'm actually a little bit scared for Croc when I see him make those plays, because I think if you don't Cyclone, you don't win that fight. But if you Cyclone, House burns a distort, whereas you burn an ultimate and you lose that team fight. So props to Croc for holding that and not committing more. And that is actually going to net them the Herald, as it looks like Fluxo have completely yielded it.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just Fluxo recognizing the TP deficit. They know that Tay is not going to be able to respond in the same amount of time as Robo, as his teleport is only now just coming off of cooldown. So they recognize to take what they can get. Tay continues to push in the bottom lane, picks up a second tower here for Fluxo, and now, you know, hey, maybe this is enough for them in 30 seconds to put themselves on Soul Point and take this next Drake.
And I think Drake is really where it matters. The Herald you can give up if you're going to trade, and we saw precisely that, right? Robo walked up, Tay just took the turret because no Robo there. But at Dragons, that won't be the case, because I don't think there's anything Fluxo can trade for that would be worth these Dragons. It is Chemtech Dragon, so the sort of tenacity really benefits mostly Samus and maybe Jojo a little bit. It's the most important trait. But again, you're just trying to force team fights around objectives as much as possible. And hey, if you can accelerate the Elder as well, I think they will still be in their power pocket when Elder comes up, if they can clear all the dragons as fast as they spawn.
I'll tell you what, considering that Tay is going to want to be able to stick onto a Tino's route if he can get access to them in these team fights, that tenacity does help him keep that flame spitter going on these targets in team fights. So it might benefit that Rumble as well. Multiple teleports in. Tay has arrived. Loud take the tower and immediately move down into this bottom river. Fluxo considering joining. How currently still pushing in top lane, and this might be Fluxo once again deciding to seed a neutral objective, maybe valuing the gold from these towers higher, and they know that, you know, this isn't a dangerous streak, it's just the first one for Loud.
I don't know if I agree with that choice. I think Loud have played this to perfection. Yeah, so they dropped the ward down, they've got priority, and the moment they saw House top, they were like, okay, we take this. There's no question, there's no threat, there's no risk, and because they secured Herald as well, got that mid-lane priority. And yeah, so I'm a little bit concerned. I'm getting a bit of flashbacks to Fluxo's game against Pain Gaming, where House tried to split push carry on the LeBlanc, and he was winning pretty much all the 1v1s. But once you hit the base turrets, it gets a lot more difficult for LeBlanc to keep up that pressure. It takes a lot longer, and then you've got to worry about the rest of your team just getting engaged on 5v4.
I guess the thing for me, though, is that, like, that one Chemtech Drake that Loud got is it. And, like, the goal, I just value that gold that they just put on House more. Am I crazy?
No, I think that is a fair way to look at it. And in my head, the calculation I'm doing right now is how much gold does House need to be effective versus the 5 minutes you're going to lose later. Potential Soul. And Elder Drake. And it's up to House right now to convince me, because I think House is already dominating Tinons in the side lane. We saw how much damage he's doing, and Tinons just hit his 2-item power spike. So this is usually when Kaisa can look to start trading even with LeBlanc, but because House was ahead, it happened. House was up half an item. So if that half an item lead is going to be able to leverage something, then I think it's worth it. And I've got to wait for House to find that. There's still an outer turret mid. There's still an inner turret on the bot lane, which is the easy things that House can look to try and take in trade for objectives.
Yeah, important to note that these mid laners are almost, you would say dead even, but the tower gold that House has been able to pick up, the plate gold, certainly full for his income, so keep an eye on that. Fluxo starting to posture around this Baron. That is Seos landing a dredge line. It looks like Loud wants to go all in. How's going to get out for the time being, but they do get the shutdown there onto JoJo, and the pings immediately to turn for Baron.
And this is why we talk about Loud as being so good.
1,500 kills for Tino in CBLOL. Of course, your kill leader in the history of Brazilian League of Legends. Congratulations to Tinos.
Oh, the fight though. Comes down.
House taking a lot of damage. Good job from Tinos there to keep him out of trouble. Prunty able to take down Robo, maybe looking for more. Moonlight Vigil will hit a few. Seos is going to go. He's not going to get away though. It's a double kill for Prunty, and just like that, Fluxo turns this fight on its head. Yeah,
that was always the concern with this. I really liked what Loud did with that pick. They recognized Tay wasn't there. They pulled the trigger, they got the kill, but overstayed in the pit because all the team fighting was still available for Fluxo, and now Fluxo are going to be, well, thank you for the leash. We're going to pick up Baron, and yeah, so are they going to continue their undefeated streak against Loud?
All I gotta say, Bruncy is gonna be set up to succeed here thanks to the gold that he just picked up. 2 huge kills there for the FLX, and also with Seos with the dredge on the House.
Yeah, and House survives. He's not the one who ends up paying the final price. It's JoJo. And that's kind of the problem, because House is so mobile, had the TP, he's back. And then this gets scary, because now it's 5v4, but you don't have any of your big teamfight ultimate. And House chunking out Tinos from the get-go means you're not fighting 5v4, it's effectively more 4v4.
What a fight there from Fluxo, coming back to that Baron with a numbers disadvantage, right? Joe is dead through that entire play, and they still make it happen for V5. Checking in with Robo in the top lane. Meanwhile, Fluxo with their eyes set on mid lane, trying to use this Baron buff to get Siege going effectively, but the wave clear from Loud enough to keep Fluxo at bay for the time being. There's a look at our gold graph in this lead that continues to favor Fluxo.
Yeah, Fluxo's been doing really well with this, and that's one thing we praise Fluxo for this win, is that when they look good, when they come together, they look really, really good. And right now, that well-oiled machine is running now. House with the split push, everybody else kind of just pushing into the mid lane. Loud have to be very, very careful about getting flanked behind their turrets right now, especially in transition. And Fluxo, look at the ward line. They set up this rotation between mid and bot lane, and so Loud extremely careful whenever they want to even rotate. They've got to take the longer way, and that's allowing Fluxo to get chip damage with the Baron minions onto these turrets every time they move back and forth.
I'll tell you what, they may have lost that last Drake, but with this Baron picked up, 20 seconds until the next one, and that rotation that they have set up between mid and bot, Fluxo should have a very easy time setting up for this next Drake. And Seo stepping a little too far forward does perfectly buffer the dredge on there, but it might not be enough to get him out alive. It is healing spree there for Brunsey. Meanwhile, Robo going to get locked down by House, and Fluxo is just fine here. Croc dash in and does get the ultimate off, but it really isn't going to get anything done. Root is locked down there. Thanks to the equalizer, has a flash on Robo trying to get to the safety of his tower. He will not escape. That's Brunsey with another pickup here, and this Aphelios is very much online.
I'm scared for Tino's right here with House and Jojo. We see that combo diving the AD carries before. I guess AP carries, since Tino's actually running AP Kai'Sa, but Loud was the one who decided to step up and threaten this. And Yezo, we were just talking about the vision chokehold Fluxo had put down. It feels like Loud kind of didn't respect that and thought, hey, we're just going to push up. You're a little bit split. We're going to try and pressure you. But jokes, not for real. Not all of us are here. And Fluxo just called them on that bluff and went, okay, if you want to step up, we'll take this. We got TP. Loud trying to come back into this one. Equalizer is up.
Yeah, teleport in from Robo to try and box in Fluxo. He's going to lock down as many targets as he can. The rest of his team is just too slow to arrive. Brunsey going to pick up another kill there, and they're maybe looking to chase for more. Desama stepping forward, close to having the Glacial Prison up, but not quite yet. House on the flank. Root gets over the wall, but House is just going to distort right over to chase the side. It does get out of trouble for the time being. Equalizer laid down to slow down Croc. Not a lot of damage, but it isn't going to much matter as House. How to dash out of trouble. Loud get away. The only casualty for the time being.
Seos?
Robo, but as soon as I say it, Seo steps too far forward and it gets punished by Fluxo.
That was a Lee Syndrome moment. Like, Seo's throwing out that hook with just Croc on your side. Who are you gonna kill? The Samus was right there with his ultimate available. Glacial Prison would have guaranteed you did not have enough kill threat onto that. And Loud right now, just in shambles. A 7-game win. This was a team that looked nigh invincible in team fights. And Fluxo is schooling them right now on to handle these 4v4s, these 5v5s. I want to correct myself. I said at the start of the Tay had Equalizer ready. It wasn't actual Yup. And it did not even matter because it's House, it's Brunsey. Look at those damage numbers. They're the ones online right now. And with the Samus just playing frontline, we are never seeing those flanks from Croc and Tino's that we need to see happen to threaten Brunsey.
And, I mean, this game is starting to look eerily similar to what we saw in round 2 RMC, right? Big performance from Brunsey on a carry. Solid game from Root as well, but not quite being enough to get Loud over the hump there. And even Tino's having, an all right performance here. It was only Annie last time around. This time around, not as much playmaking potential. He needs Croc and Robo and Seos to set him up for success. They haven't been able to do that so far. It is a big lead here for Fluxo as we quickly approach 30 minutes.
And I do want to highlight, I don't think Loud has done anything particularly wrong. Like, I think they threw the early game by any means. Fluxo just executed incredibly well with what advantages they could have. And that to me was on Jojo roaming out, getting House ahead. And Tay just kind of winning out his lane in that 1v1, getting him the freedom to rotate around. And now, because of those early advantages, for Loud, they're down 9k. If you want to come back and you can't fight this front to back, you need to start finding picks of your own. But they keep trying to go for House. House is the slipperiest guy on this map right now.
Yeah, they just can't seem to find Tay or Brunsey in a spot where they can lock them down and take them out before they absolutely wreak havoc on their team in these fights. So I mean, Loud is just in such a rough spot. Baron now spawning here, and I mean, what's the road for Loud back into this game? Is it simply just a pick onto Brunsey or Tay in a fight and then snowballing from there?
That would be the ideal, but I don't think they're going to find it. Fluxo has been doing such a good job of tracking where Croc is at pretty much all points in the game. Tinones as well has constantly been hound by house, so he can't set up a flank of his own. I think for Loud, you're looking at Baron flip from Fluxo. But even that's going to be hard because the Samus is really tanky. He can soak a lot of Baron attention, but you got to do that because if Loud are the ones to get corralled into any sort of pit, Equalizer's going to cook them. But if you can get Fluxo in the, maybe you can outplay them. Maybe you can dance around on open ground.
You can certainly hope so, but even that setup for the contest maybe gives him a good laser angle. That's going to be the engage here from Desamas. Rude is going to hit the Featherstorm and try and kite away as long as he can, but Croc and Seos getting melted there, and Seos has fallen, and Brunsey, he's confident. He's got the Gravitum ready to go. He's looking to lock down these targets at the double kill as he takes down Croc and maybe looking for more. How's going to distortion forward? They don't care. Who says Baron is ours. That's what we need to finish this game.
Okay, we've seen some questionable engages from Loud. That was not one. That was a good call. They looked for an open ground fight. They went in, and yeah, so that just speaks to the state of the game right now. That Fluxo were still able to roll them over. Brunsey, completely untouched in that fight, was able to free fire, and for their reward, not only did they get kills, they get Baron, and they're gonna eat Tinones to boot.
Dang. House not only gets the kill, but gets the teleport out of Robo, and maybe even the kill as well, because Tay immediately matches there the chain. Robo is going to be able to buffer that just fine, and that means House will just go back, get that Baron and power to recall it. Man, Fluxo looking wonderful. Also, funny to note, House was playing support LeBlanc up until that play in the bottom lane. That's his first kill here, 29 minutes in.
Wait, that means the kills in the mid lane. Jojo picked them up. I didn't even realize.
That's what I was saying. He was 3-1-2 at one point. That's why I said this is Rakana's fed.
He was the true jungler this game. I think he actually might have ganked more than Desamas in the early game. Everybody on Fluxo has done their part, and because of that, they're the combo breakers. Fluxo, not only are the team right now who are looking set up to break a 7-win streak for Loud, they also beat Red, the only team to have beaten Red. So we talk about a top 4. Fluxo is making a case to beat them.
Huge showing from Fluxo today. They want to separate themselves from the pack. We talked about the suit there fighting for those last 2 playoff spots, and this is Fluxo make statement that they might be the best of that group, and they're looking to challenge the teams at the top of the table. Baron up Minion still into the base here. Lots of damage there onto Tino. He gets taken out by the Moonlight Vigil there of Brunsey. Meanwhile, House dashing in onto Root. Root will flash away and survive for the team, but Croc will get taken out once again. It's another double kill for Brunsey, and the law of X's continues here in the CBLOL. Brunsey and Fluxo now 4-0 against Loud in 2020.